Keep bread in the freezer for longer storage. 40% of food in the U.S. goes uneaten. Save money, save food, save the planet. Visit Seattle Public Utilities for more tips.
Tune in to Real Estate and Money every Tuesday afternoon from 2:30 to 3 here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Join your hosts Violetta Strash with John L. Scott Kent North and Tina Lombard with Guaranteed Rate Affinity. They'll help you navigate the waters of our volatile real estate market and offer you some guidance on how to make your hard-earned money work to make your dreams come true. Learn about current trends, get tips on financial matters, and have fun, interactive discussions about your home inside and out. That's Real Estate and Money.
Mga kaibigan, ito po si Kuya Bert Kawili.
And this is Miles Salvador from Australia.
And I'm Norb Kawili, also known as Norbcam.
Kung gusto niyo po ang latest news and events from the Philippines at yung local Filipino community, Phil Radio po.
We play Filipino music and interview guests from all around the world.
And I'll keep you updated on the latest Seahawks and sports news.
Kaya always tune in, Phil Radio, every Tuesday, 1 to 2:30 p.m. Pacific Time on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
And in YouTube and Facebook. Salamat po.
My name is Keith. I'm a barber from Tacoma, Washington. When the pandemic hit, it did affect me as a business owner. I had my own personal reasons why I didn't get vaccinated. But I was talking to a doctor, and he was telling me more about what it could do to protect us and our family. I wanted to get back to that once was, right? I do feel safe knowing that I am vaccinated. I just hope what I'm saying is reaching into people's heads to know that this is the best decision for all of us. To learn more, please visit hereforuswa.org.
You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio,
your community radio station.
Hey, y'all. This is Dr. Traci Harrell, and you're watching Better Together and Living Powerfully. This is the Better Together Empowerment Series and the Living Powerfully experience. Now, I couldn't be more excited today. I don't have a whole lot of time to talk because we are bringing to you these exciting highlights from our most recent, Daniel is calling it a symposium. We call it just another experience. It was the Getting Better Together Empowerment and Healing series. So it was a version of Getting Better Together. It was a version of, the Better Together Empowerment series. It was a version of the Living Powerfully experience, but it was something so special and unique. We called it an Empowerment and Healing series. So we brought in some of the science that we've been talking about with positive intelligence, but that's just like one of 7 things that we do. Positive intelligence is great, but it's very foundational, and we need foundational, right? We need some things that will like set the record straight. Here's some tools that you can use that are very easy, that are quite impactful, that set some grounding that says, this is how you change your life. This is how you can achieve your dreams. This is what you can do. These are some of the tips that you can do, some of the really impactful things that you can do to drive change. Combine the positive intelligence with transformational coaching, with the work that I did as a certified success coach with Success Magazine. We brought in things that I've done. I was certified with David Baer as a transformational facilitator. And when you use that language, it's like, how do you facilitate transformation? Like a changed mind changes your life. So that's the work we've been doing. And so what's exciting is we just recently completed, I think we did 3 over the last in a short amount of time. But the last 6-week series was really focused on empowerment and healing. So we brought in forgiveness work. We brought in more of a cultural elements that included like a healing circle and sound bath, and there were rocks in the room that allowed you to kind of connect back to nature. Oh, it was so good. What I'm most excited about is that we took the time, right? We could have taken more time, but we took 6 weeks to lay out a very clear roadmap for what success looks like. How do you get better together, right? And we're continuing to do the work. Now we're inviting you to bring in your voice. So share a little bit with us about like, what is the most exciting thing that you've experienced as a part of this? So we're going to share, today is going to be some highlights. Take notes, and then we're going to continue to bring your voice in next week and the following weeks, and you'll get these nuggets. We want to make sure that people are hearing the things that are most transformational for you. So Daniel, I think it was week 4 highlights, and then we're going to go right into week 5 and right into week 6. We barely have enough time on the show, so you're not going to see me again, but you're going to see me in these videos because we really wanted to bring all of this great content to you. So Daniel, whenever you're ready.
Have a choice to change with me, or do you find their way?
In hearing the voices, to be heard is what really brings about healing. It's when we have the opportunity to share our voices about the things that's going on in our world and in our own personal lives. And when people's voices are heard, they're part of the story. And it's a powerful way of bringing healing to the community. So I love the work that you're going to continue to carry forward to a larger community. I think that's really powerful.
Right. Here's what it looks like to transform. We can't keep it to yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can't empower people this much. Empowerment is like, it's out there in the universe, come one, come all. Yes? How do you feel about that? About creating this space where we are, every voice in here.
Ultimately, your history is your legacy. And it is not, it's not something that, whether you're intentional about it or not, it is developed and it becomes your story. So the idea of the work that each of you all have brought to this space with a willingness to do that allows us to build a collective legacy.
We each have been empowered. So that's different. It looks different from power of one, but we each have been empowered to go forth, to heal ourselves, but also to heal the world. And so when we think about it from that perspective, it's like you say, the power of one. Each person that's in this room, each person that's on the Zoom have made a conscious choice that I want to be changed and I want the environment that I'm in to be changed. And so my legacy is touching those around me as I go forth in a good way.
So this image I love so much because it is about saying when I transform, that caterpillar, when it becomes a butterfly, it is no longer. It doesn't remember what it was like to scooch on a limb. It is free. So this is about really setting ourselves free, the freedom to be all that we can be, right? It's exciting.
Doing it together really validates that our humanness, that there's nothing wrong with us when we, maybe get stuck in issues or we find ourselves feeling less than someone else or having limited belief. When we do it together, each one of us have a story. And when we're honest and authentic about sharing that story, it really brings healing to us, but it also let the person sitting next to you say, oh, I am okay. I'm not the only one that's going through some things, that's experiencing some things. So working together in community is really powerful. Once we are aware of something, then we can acknowledge it. Once we acknowledge something, we take the power away from it. It no longer hoards power over us. So I think that the importance of just acknowledging, being aware is really great first steps in helping us to get unstuck. And like I say, it's part of the journey. It's the journey of life. It's a part of that self-care and that self-awareness of who you are that you have to keep doing over and over again.
Levels of awareness is the step before transformation. You're actually still a caterpillar. You just see that there's someplace I can go. You start to get into that next level of the chrysalis, right? But you ain't there yet, right? It's not until you start to do what we're going to do this week and really think about beliefs. That's where the transformation happens.
So the beliefs that I have now is that can transformation happen? Yes, but it's also a choice. So I had to make that choice. Yep. Sometimes you're going to hurt people's feelings. Sometimes people are going to not want to associate with you. Sometimes people are going to curse you out because you're challenging a system that there should not be no resistance. It's just hear and obey and you do what I say.
Yeah.
But now the belief system allows me to be a free man's life.
Sometimes we carry the thoughts that's inside of us on the outside, and so the power of just being changed is that you didn't have to say any words, but just your outer countenance exemplify the smile and your face, and that's the power of I know we're going to be talking about belief, but I think the power of transformation is what we carry into the world. If we're healed, we carry more healing into the world. And so that's powerful that we expand. I can look at everyone in this room. I cannot tell you what's going on inside of you. But that assessment really gives you an opportunity to look at yourself. And even if I knew something that was going on with you, and I told you, you wouldn't believe it. Then we start to, project it back on others. But the assessment really is an opportunity to intentionally see ourselves.
What are we transforming? The innermost, most foundational seed thoughts or core programming that we are in this space calling beliefs. So we're going beyond the place that many other models stop. So what are you thinking? What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Reflect, reflect, reflect. Those are all questions at the thought level. But what gives rise to the thoughts that we're reflecting on? So that's where the real power for permanent change lives. Because you can change your thoughts, but the beliefs that gave rise to the thoughts are still firing and informing and, feeding the thoughts. And then you can backslide or regress. But when you've done the clean out and the changing of the inner forms, then you become a new creature. Once the caterpillar becomes transformed into a butterfly, it cannot go back to caterpillar. So that is the power of transformation. It creates new creatures, new beings, the new man, the new woman. We have weak muscles in going deep. So then when it comes time to do it, it's like trying to lift an 80-pound weight, but your muscles have only been built up to 5 pounds.
Right.
So you gotta work the muscle. And so going beyond thoughts to beliefs is like the 80-pound weight. And a lot of us have never lifted that and haven't prepared ourselves to lift that. But that's what needs lifting now.
I was really excited about the scientific elements, right? The things that the neuroscience, because it's guaranteed to work, But I'm a believer too. And so I had to kind of combine those two things, which is why connecting with Reverend Dr. Linda Smith and connecting with my pastor on work that they've been doing anyway to help us get better. It's like, when you bring the scientific and the spiritual together, it's everything. You cover all the bases. You're guaranteed to work if you work it. And it's about ease and flow. So when you look at your beliefs, there is a process. There's a step-by-step process that we're going to talk about today. And we're going to ask you to work that muscle.
I actually adopted this working in corporate America. And the belief is that 50% of what people say is true. And the way that this shows up is, the more a person talks, the more content, I believe, like some of that is probably true and some of it probably isn't, just because inherently we like to embellish the truth. We like to feel grand. We like to feel important. Let's talk about the risks. Let's talk about so I'm more reserved and more analytical. And it has actually worked for me because it has set me apart and put me in positions in corporate where part of my job was to work with people, and the other half was to work with data. So there's some benefits, and jobs and data pay more. So it served me well.
So Miss Traci, with the multiple degrees and the multiple certifications and the blah, 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 all the things, for some reason, when I transitioned out of corporate, I felt like in doing something else, I wanted to do I needed some extra certifications and optimizations and validations and, really. So now I say, I don't need nothing else.
My parents are like brother and sister today. What they agreed upon is how I would come into the world and how I would navigate the world. But for me, I saw myself as a constant diplomat. Every holiday, how much time at this house, etc. So think about the patterns of that. Holding on is this idea that I will be here every Monday.
I've been dealing with friends and folks and myself, and it seems like to transform at this age and this time, you have to deal with that childhood. And I would like to see some of that in the beginning, because it comes out if you're true to yourself, what's going on. But if you think about it, everybody talked about this, how they had to transform and work wherever they are now. And of course, God is in the piece, because we're here in our church and doing the work here. So that's understandable. But somehow we need to deal with that childhood piece.
Yes. The way I'm doing this is $1,000 per person for training. And in my mind, it was better to give it all away, right? And that was because God said, give it all away. When God speaks, let me just be clear. You talk about letting go. Woo! There is some peace and power in the surrender. I believe walking surrendered is the only way to be. I believe when you hold on and think you're going to work it out, and he's like, I got you. Go work it, Lord. And when I say there's miracle after miracle after miracle after miracle that has shown up in my life when I show up surrendered, it's also scientific that says if I believe that every situation can be turned into a gift and an opportunity, this is going to work out for my good. It's scientific.
A way that you survive is that you cover up, the struggles, the pains, and the hurt that you have to go through. And so as an adult, I found myself, really, like you say, high achiever, working all the time. I probably still do a lot of that now. Right. But a lot of that came out of just as a child, feeling like you got to survive. But I have to talk to the inner child in order for that inner child to be healed.
Self-love is knowing who you are, living your life from within. And from within means in a way that you can shine and smile and love yourself to a point that you don't have to believe anything else except that you're here for a purpose, and that is a divine purpose. And you are divine. When we think we're human, sometimes that takes us down. But being divine within ourselves and knowing what love is me. Love is you. And we were born in love. And we were born as our creator. And we are the creator. So we have to see ourselves better than negativity, or I'm bad, or I did something wrong, or I feel guilty. All those things can be set aside. And we really, really know how to love. Just allow yourself. Just tell yourself in the mirror, I love you. And I love you, for sure.
Beliefs are critical, and many times we don't even know where we receive the beliefs that we have. So you must make sure that you are examining, why do you believe what you believe? And especially, why are you not believing the best and the positive? Why are you not making your mind think on those things that are good and pure and lovely and whole? So dig deep. We have to root these things out, people. And our mind, as we know, our mind takes us everywhere. So it's a matter of helping yourself understand what it is you're thinking, why it is you're thinking it, and you can always choose to think better.
Each and every person in this room having a unique calling, a unique gift. And I think it's so important that we embrace that about ourselves, because when we come to that realization, we become very comfortable at just showing up in a room as who we are, because we understand there's nobody else in the room that can do what I can do. And when we accept that reality about ourselves, it causes us to walk differently. It causes us to show up differently. And then when you recognize that it was the Creator himself that gave me this unique gift, nobody can take that away.
Living powerfully, if I could really explain that, is optimization and life growth. That means always meditating, always striving, and always optimizing one's health. It's a series of health missions that we constantly always strive for. So the journey's never complete. It's something that you're always striving for. And once we're always doing that, that's how I believe you live in power and you stay in power forever. Yeah, absolutely.
When you talk about belief, you have to understand that if you say you believe something, you don't know it, right? You're guessing, you're hoping, you're wishing. But when you know it, you can start to really build a foundation that's true. You can't live on a belief, but you can live and thrive on a knowledge, right? We know certain things about us. We know that we're divine. We know that we're healthy. We know that we're home. And so we get there, right? If I believe it, I might not get there. I might not believe it tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? We know it every day. Knowledge is power.
I've been suffering from PTSD literally for an extended period of time. I found myself driving sometimes, white knuckling it, and I'm pretty dark. So, if I got white knuckles, I'm holding the thing. I'm holding the steering wheel pretty tight. Tears rolling down my eyes. If it's dark and rainy, I was getting my hair done in Linwood about 6-7 months ago. And it was dark, it was raining, same kind of environment when I had this accident 2 years ago. And I found myself Lord, just get me home. I just want to make it home. I had some work, and I'm still doing some work, and I'm feeling 1,000 times better because I believe that God's got me. God got me there too.
We have to reflect the brilliance of our past. And that's what honoring Black Wall Street is really all about. It's reflecting the brilliance of our past. When we see all of these amazing vendors lining 23rd and Jackson, it's another reminder of the brilliance we come from. When you think about what it means to get better together, this is really what it looks like in practice. And honestly, a lot of our history through a lot of different Black Wall Streets all over the country really showcase to us what we can do when we do come together.
A process of growth. Letting go is part of your transformation process. You will change yourself when you understand that life is made up of many endings and deaths. You will grow when you learn how to navigate those endings and emotional death. You will become kinder when you learn how to turn suffering into hope. You will help others and often put their needs before yours when you understand how great it is to cross a bridge and not to run through a muddy valley. Everything that you do will be proof that you let go of your old self. You changed, you mended your heart, you outgrew your brokenness and became a healing soul in this ruthless world. You changed yourself beautifully, inside and out. So go in peace and love, my beloved friends, knowing that you are a masterpiece in the making and that God has more for you than you could ever imagine. Be blessed, my friends.
We can have so much peace that no matter what we face in our lifetime, it's not enough to offend us because we know that God is in control. The song is, I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul.
Wow. Wow. More to come, y'all.
It was nice.
Wow.
All right.
Thank you. Hello, y'all. We are live right here at the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Baptist Church, and I could not be more excited that we are going to be focused on the Better Together Empowerment Series. This is about getting better. Y'all, we're going to be getting healthier, happier, wealthier, and wiser. Anybody interested in getting all those things? Hello? The woman to my right, this is Sabrina Jackson Gandy. We brought her into a number of different sessions, and what she said is, when I show up, we got to do things not only clear, but what you said you were going to do is create a space for people to get better.
The GPS in our cars, the first thing that it's asking is, where are you starting from? And you don't want to think you are in downtown Seattle when you are in Burien, because your starting location will be twisted and your instructions will be crazy. So part of truth telling is knowing where you're located and not having an inflated, because it looks good, positioning myself way up here because it's more palatable, but being able to be in tune with where you are, how you're showing up, and name it, so that then you can get clear about what the destination is, and your pathway there isn't warped.
It's the truth that sets us free, and when we tell ourselves the truth, then we're on a different path. So I think on the right path, I should say. And so I think just uncovering those masks. What are the masks? What masks am I wearing around? And, uncovering those masks. So I think some of that came out of these several weeks that really opened us up to the authentic self.
I grew up playing basketball, and I wasn't that great of a basketball player. I was late. I didn't start till 10th grade. I was a great swimmer, transition. One of my guys right here is in the room. He knows that too. And I remember I had to tell myself the truth. Like, I ain't really that good. I could shoot a little bit. I had good eye-hand coordination, but I couldn't dribble left-handed. I didn't even know the rules. I didn't even know the plays. So it wasn't until I put all these hours in, I had to understand, I'm not really that good at all.
Wanting to get better is not the same, right? It is not the same. And the practice of getting better is just that. We call it the practice of mental fitness, right? The practice of showing up differently, the practice of choosing when I see that saboteur, that thing that is not serving me, I'm going to pivot and do something different as quickly as possible. So I just love that we're laying out a very clear path, y'all. There should be no mystery, no confusion. If you really want to transform, we're laying it out for you.
Being true to yourself.
Yes.
I go to Howard University. I'm in the music.
Yes.
I think I'm into music the way you're into basketball. I spend a little time studying it.
We're going to have you look at that camera right there.
But I'm on campus with Donnie Hathaway. I got Roberta Flack in I got Felicia Rashad over here. I got Debbie Allen over here, and I'm in this department. And I'm walking through the 41 rooms of the practice room downstairs, and I hear all this talent. And I had to be true to myself. And I went into architecture.
I love that.
I could put the work in and get to another level. Just to make the team was a lot. And then go from that to be able to be on a team that we actually won a championship, to go from that to be able to get a scholarship. Most kids don't even get scholarships. So it was one of those things where I always look at, when I try new things, it's like, I could do that because I was able to do this. I was able to do that. So it's just stepping stones. You keep on stepping to the point of using those stepping stones to the next platform, and you kind of demystify the fear factor.
Remember we talked about the 5 primary drivers, that beliefs lead to our thoughts, which are thoughts that lead to our emotions and our feelings. It's our feelings that lead to the actions or inactions. And then it's those actions or inactions that lead to the results. So when you go deep, when you start to transform, you're transforming beliefs. You're looking at your limiting beliefs. You're identifying what they are. And beliefs are like the wind. It's happening, right? Flag is blowing to the left, so you know they're there. You can't really see it. You gotta do some work to get to the beliefs.
Well, beliefs operate like our human software. So we use that a lot when we talk about technology and upgrading your software, and there's a bug in the software. So there's a lot of similarities to us as humans, and beliefs really operate as
Rainier Avenue Radio. Rainier Avenue Radio.
Love food? Here's some storage tips to keep it fresh longer. Store cut fruits and vegetables in the fridge. Place in reusable containers. Keep bread in the freezer for longer storage. 40% of food in the U.S. goes uneaten. Save money, save food, save the planet. Visit Seattle Public Utilities for more tips.
Tune in to Real Estate and Money every Tuesday afternoon from 2:30 to 3 here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Join your hosts Violetta Strash with John L. Scott Kent North and Tina Lombard with Guaranteed Rate Affinity. They'll help you navigate the waters of our volatile real estate market and offer you some guidance on how to make your hard-earned money work to make your dreams come true. Learn about current trends, get tips on financial matters, and have fun, interactive discussions about your home inside and out. That's Real Estate and Money.
Mga kaibigan, ito po si Kuya Bert Kawili.
And this is Miles Salvador from Australia.
And I'm Norb Kawili, also known as Norbcam. Kung gusto niyo po ang latest news and events from the Philippines at the local Filipino community, Phil-Am Radio po.
We play Filipino music and interview guests from all around the world.
And I'll keep you updated on the latest Seahawks and sports news. Kaya always tune in. Phil-Am Radio every Tuesday, 1 to 2:30 p.m. Pacific Time on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
And in YouTube and Facebook. Salamat po.
My name is Keith. I'm a barber from Tacoma, Washington. When the pandemic hit, it did affect me as a business owner. I had my own personal reasons why I didn't get vaccinated. But I was talking to a doctor and he was telling me more about what it could do to protect us and our family. I wanted to get back to that once was, right? I do feel safe knowing that I am vaccinated. I just hope what I'm saying is reaching into people's heads to know that this is the best decision for all of us. To learn more, please visit hereforuswa.org.
You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio,
your community radio station.
Things that you mentioned, but because it's invisible, we often stop maybe at thoughts, most of us at actions, and then we try to do something differently. But to go deeper to the source level really takes some energy, effort, attention, intentionality, and it's really our beliefs that really can keep pulling us back to certain patterns.
Inside there's this turmoil. There's a situation where you know, right?
You got bugs and viruses.
Right. Relationships are happening, and why do I keep choosing the wrong one? Is it them or is it you? Just saying, right? Truth telling is important. It's so powerful.
If we don't heal from those, then we will, we'll live in this space that's not really our true self. And so really, and I think that's the power of our stories, is diving deep. And I just remember your powerful story that you had shared with us about, how your beliefs have been shaped and formed by your upbringing, and then, how you really did that work yourself to transform and reshape your beliefs, which ultimately is the values that we live by.
We also have a bad habit, I think, of transferring what our motivations are to the person that you have your attitude about, because you perceive that they're coming from a particular place.
Yes.
And then you find out that the only real thing that was happening there was your 4 and 5-year-old beliefs got in the way, and you're not really seeing where they're coming from.
Come on now. Ooh, say that. Ooh, that's good.
There is something so powerful about being surrendered. So we're going to ask each of you to decide today that whatever has been holding you back, whatever has been causing you pain, whatever has been a problem, a trigger for you, that you're going to do the work. We're going to not just talk about power. We're going to do that. We're going to work the practice.
To grab the wind is difficult. To see the evidence of the wind blowing a flag or a branch, that's more easily identifiable. So you got to kind of back into belief work the same way, and starting with your patterns, and choose a specific area so you're not overwhelmed.
Are you going to put yourself in a powerful state of mind so that you can be creative and manifest an amazing outcome? Or is this horrible thing going to happen and you're going to woe is me and go down a path of this is horrible and I'm not worthy and blah, 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 right? There's only two states of mind, powerful or primal. When you're in a primal state, that's that breathing. We talked about the power of the pause. Leave that for someone else. I don't have time for that. I believe that everything happens for my good, shenanigans and the like. Let's make it work.
We have to stop feeding the negative thoughts. There's a biblical text that I really like, one of Paul's letter, where it talks about think on those things that are noteworthy. Think on those things that are life-giving. So, I really try and practice, and what I share with people, when you start to think those negative things, you gotta reverse it.
You are somebody. You are a child of God. I remember when I first went to college, when I was in my math class, and the instructor came in and said, well, some of you are going to graduate and some of you are not going to graduate. I said, I'm going to graduate. And I did, because I believe in myself. When I went to college, I said, I'm going to graduate. And I graduated because I believe in myself from somebody, and I know I can do it. And I did it. So that's what we have to do. We have to believe in yourself, believe that you can do it. You're a child of God. You are somebody.
Yes. The only Bible verse I remember as a kid was Hebrews 11:1, and it was, now faith is something things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. I ride with that all the time because it kind of manifests a lot of different things. It touches on the fact that, yes, even though I may have a vision, it's limited on my community, right, based on what I've seen, what I haven't seen. But if I have faith, there's things beyond what I can see that I have to understand.
Forgiveness work is about returning your heart to its natural open state, which is a state of freedom. So it's personal liberation work is what forgiveness is. It's a spiritual technology. It is not just based on your mind. It also is based on the love of a creator that's beyond each of us. So the other analogy is a bruise in the physical body. If I punch Ed really hard in this arm with this ring, he's probably going to have a bruise and it's going to be sensitive. 2 days later, Traci bumps into him and says, "Oh, Ed," and right there it hits the same spot my ring caused. Now, what he will probably say is, "Traci, you hurt me." And if he's not remembering where the bruise had its origin, he will assign the hurt to her.
There are things you can do to really understand, where am I at? Like, what's really happening here? So really think about how many times, yes, are there shenanigans? Yes. Is there racism? Absolutely. Of course, we all know that there is. Do I show up like that? No, I can't. So I don't even allow myself to assume, even though I have experienced some shenanigans, I don't allow myself to show up like the black woman who believes that everyone's out to harm me. It's unacceptable. That is not who I am. I believe that every situation works out for my good. So just be careful.
We're going to have you start with identifying who. Now, I usually will have people do, I call forgiveness a spiritual treatment, and they have identified 2, 3, or 4 people. But because of the format and the time, we're going to just have the forgiveness work be focused on self today. Secondly, you're going to be zeroing in on a pretty turning point or pivotal situation that happened to you. So you're going to zero in on a significant situation. Then you are going to identify and write down the low-level emotions, the residual low-level emotions from that situation. And where those low-level emotions still are is in you. Then we're going to be using breath as an aid to help us begin. Keyword begin. Did I say begin? Yes. Loosening up the low-level emotions that have accumulated within us. And then I'm going to give you some things to say out loud, because this throat area is connected to your personal power. And I call it a pulse breath. And so instead of going smoothly in and smoothly out, you're actually going to do 3 pulses in. Did you get that? So 3 in, not just 1 in and 1 out, then out. So let's do it together, okay? On the count of 3, we're going to go in, and then exhale through our mouths, okay? Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. One more time. Blow out hard when we get to the actual practice. Okay, the exhale is really critical. You are going to, on the left side of your paper, in a vertical list, you are then going to write down the low-level emotions that were the result of that experience for you. And you're going to list it. So hurt is not an emotion, pain is not an emotion. And you want to be as specific as possible when you're listing the emotions on the left side of your paper in a vertical list. Because the more specific you are, the more it will serve you. So now what you're going to be doing in this second part is on the right-hand side of your paper, and it needs to be across from the emotion you wrote on the left-hand side of your paper. This is why I needed you to keep the format a certain way. On the right-hand side of your paper, you're going to write the opposite emotion of what you wrote on the left. Now, if you wrote unworthy, don't just write worthy on the right-hand side. Don't go the cheap route or the lazy route. Just take the UN off of it, because it might be the opposite of unworthy is valuable.
That is why this is so critical, not just identifying, but allowing yourself to feel it and then letting it come out.
Yeah.
Because we are always the ones who have to be strong, supposedly. And I have surrendered that. Like, I don't have to be the strong one in my family.
Come on now.
I can support you and all that, but I'm going to go ahead and release and cry and do whatever I need to do so I can stay healthy and whole and not have any dis-ease forming in my body because I'm stuffing. I don't stuff anymore. It comes out.
When I say begin, you are going to start your I now release statement. And then I'll have you move into the breaths, okay? Begin. I now release.
I now release feeling of betrayal.
Pulse breath in. Another pulse breath. Shake out the shoulders. Shake it out. Shake it out. Let the hands dangle. Continue.
I now
embrace being confident.
This may seem very elementary, what we just did. But whether you are consciously aware of it or not, you started to create some shifts in your interior. And whenever you have something you've been holding a long time that now is beginning to move out, your body needs time to recalibrate, especially if those emotions on the left have been there for a while.
I see how it's draining the bad programming, and it's allowing it to do something else where I'm like, oh, it's actually opening up the space to be reprogrammed, and like, oh, okay. So that's the first time it's just kind of connected all the dots. Wow. So I'm like, okay.
Woo! With the emotions that I was feeling or that I was working on, they had to deal with my stepfather passing away. Mm-hmm. And being angry, being lonely, being sad, being confused. I'm looking at this doctor like, what do you mean he has cancer? What? No, he doesn't. We went to see the White Sox the other day, and we walked about a block to the car, and he was in good health. He was in good spirits. But what I have to own is I was comfortable in those emotions because it reminded me of good times. So this is probably something I probably needed to do for a while.
We're going to do this work. We're going to make this our new normal. Like, how's this for the new normal?
Yes.
Holding in emotions is not actually how we were designed as humans. This is what we were designed to do and be. It feels good to be free, to be set free. The liberation has been a long time coming, y'all, but it is yours for the taking.
We are in a big age now, and hopefully we are all growing and maturing and living holistically. So it's not just one section of life. We need to be healthy holistically.
What I was able to negotiate with myself, something that what is the thing that has allowed you to get to this moment? To continue to participate in the process, to help us stand this up, to not be an obstacle, but then also be courageous enough to take what it is that I needed. And what I did was to go through the exercise of forgiveness and to do that and to see it through. And I did it in the privacy of my own space.
Again, this really is. We had 224, I think it was, people in our first experiences from our first session, and each week we continue to grow online. Basically saying, if you're online, join us right here in person at Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Baptist Church. Join us here for an amazing experience. We really want to hear your voices. We want to continue to, we're going to both recap and share and do all kind of amazing things during that opportunity. So this is going to be about your transformation. It's going to be about our community. Absolutely living powerfully. So that's all we got for today. More to come. This is the Getting Better Together Empowerment Series. We are focused on getting healthier, getting happier, getting wealthier, and getting wiser. We have some people here on the panel. We got some community in the room. We have a special guest who's online with us.
So my name's, again, Chris Odom, and my background and experiences, I'm a Planet Fitness franchisee. I've been a Planet Fitness franchisee since 2011. Exercise and health is really a lifestyle, and it's really set in your daily routine. And you've got to just build some basic habits. And we always tell all of our members, just show up. You don't have to be, in the best shape. You don't have to know exactly what you're doing. Just show up, get a routine of being there 10, 15 minutes. And then that will start a pattern where you'll exercise and going to the gym or just doing any form of physical activity will become part of your daily routine.
Really being intentional about showing up, about who we are every day, and committing to, even if it's 10 minutes, committing to that 10 minutes. So we have to do that holistically. We have to do that from our spiritual, our personal, our emotional selves, as well as the physical things in our lives.
You've opened up a box.
Yes.
And now you've got all these things that you're dealing with, and you're okay with sharing it with certain people.
Yes.
Whereas before you did not necessarily do that.
Yes.
And there's a certain comfort level with this group. And I love that. I love the fact that I feel like I could share with anyone in this group. And that's key. People have to feel comfortable. I don't care where you are or what you do.
This is what success looks like. This isn't an anomaly. It's not an accident. It's very intentional. It's intentional and organic. You can see we're live. We don't care. We just like, hey, let's go. Tears are flowing. We're like, let them flow.
Let them flow.
Let them flow, right? We're all the most organic and authentic that we can be, because we're like, we are here for community. This is about empowerment and it's about healing. And unless we show up authentically, we can't expect other people to do the same.
The best preventative medicine is exercising and, participating in your own rescue and making sure you are focused on your own health. So if anything comes up, you're already prepared. You've already got that armor that you need to get through anything. You got to be vulnerable and transparent with yourself for you to kind of break down and realize, I've got to get through this, whatever these hurdles are in my life. And as long as I'm kind of putting these barriers around my thinking, what my perception is, I'll never be able to get on the other side.
We have to lead the rescue as it relates to ourselves. And what does that allow when you see people present to your to your workout centers? What do you find people, really leaning into blowing it up, and how do they simplify it so that it's not 2 weeks, right? But that they just build that habit, because that's what this series is about.
A lot of times people come in for health reasons, like the doctor said, hey, if I don't, reduce my blood pressure or I've got, cancer in my family, or I've got aches and pains and different ailments, or I'm overweight and hypertension, high blood pressure, all those things that, it's going to impact your overall, quality of life and your longevity for life. So, those are things that usually bring people in, but trying to really create that environment that we're here to support you helps people to stay. And so I think just any space you're in, you've got to, evaluate your circle of friends. Maybe they're not the right people. You might need a new circle. Sometimes your friends that are people holding you back and not letting you. They don't want you to change, because that's going to make them uncomfortable. They might have to change. They don't want to do that. So it's around being around the people who are on this new path that you want to be on.
One of the things that we have to have a relationship with ourselves. We have to learn to love ourselves, because when we love ourselves, then we're going to do differently. So that love relationship starts with ourselves. So there's something inside of all of us that are here that's coming and said, I love myself enough to want to do better and to be better. And so you glean from the other people's stories and the power. So that's really powerful.
Even the people who are dedicated to the gym, there's many days where you don't feel like getting up and going. I think that's natural. So you just have to resist that, sense of, oh, I want to go back to sleep, or I don't want to put my workout clothes on and drive to the gym. Think about that. Hey, if I'm loving myself, this is going to help me to be a better version of myself. So, but I'm there too. There's days I didn't want to go work out this morning, but I had to go.
Self-care, fitness, wellness has to be a lifestyle. You have to value yourself enough to do whatever it takes to take care of you. Then I challenged myself. Okay, let me see how long I can walk. But then we had like the smoke, from the California fires that broke it up. Okay, so I had to start again. We had the snow, so I had to start again. But this time, when I got to I was trying to go for 2 years. I was working on that, but at least I had a strategy the next time when it snowed. So I had my hiking boots. I'm out there in the rain, so I had my headgear. I was waterproof. So I got out there no matter what for 597 days until I got hit with the vid by February. So I just had to sit down. But I was going to force myself to go out there because I didn't want to break my streak. But 597 is where I got to. And so people could just understand your body's design. God gave us these fearfully and wonderfully made bodies that are healthy and hale and whole and can be disease free.
Every decision determines your destiny. I've said that multiple times.
In the gym business, we always ask, people always ask us, so what's your biggest competition? What's Planet Fitness' biggest competition? And our CEO always said one thing, the couch. That was our biggest competition. So getting people off the couch and motivated is always, and still today, our biggest competition. It's just about showing up. You can't just sign up. You got to show up too. And that's the difference.
Show up. I love
it. Going deep isn't difficult unless we haven't been doing it, which most of us haven't. So it's an underdeveloped muscle, but it's not inherently hard or difficult.
God gives you choice. When you wake up, what conversations will you hear? What conversations will you lead with? What conversations will allow you to move in community in a way that influences your community? How are you willing to transform yourself, lead your rescue in a way that inspires others?
We have so many things that we have to liberate ourselves from, whether it's, the stereotypes of being a woman or a mother or a wife. But for me, what I really thought about was those stereotypes that bind us in terms of, what we think we can do and what we cannot do. I wanted to see how I could change my mindset so that I could become the person that I want to be, and I have grown so much.
Really?
And I really appreciate
that's so exciting.
The presenters and how much I've enjoyed it. I mean, I always love to learn new things, but often when I'm learning new things, it's about something that's not directly related to me. It may be about how to do something better, like but this was personally related to me, and I have grown so much. So I really appreciate all of you who have contributed and commented.
It's the co-creation, right?
When I think of liberation, I think of two things. I think of others, not necessarily self, but others, and how I changes my environment. And my environment is not just the four walls in my home. My environment is any place I go.
Yes.
My job, out on the street at the mall, in the salon, wherever I go, I can be a change agent. And because I am a change agent, I know who I am. I know who I belong to. So whenever you see me, if I don't speak to you, call me out. Call me out. Because something's going on in here. And you may be the person that can bring me right out of it. Because I'll say, I remember what you said.
Chris Odom was talking, and he gave the example of the individual who always says, I don't want to get up and get dressed and drive to the gym. I mean, we talk about limiting thoughts, right? I say that to myself all the time. I make it make sense. I got to get dressed twice. I got to get up, get dressed, drive to the gym, then I got to come home, get in the shower, get dressed to go to work. That's a whole lot of time, right? So limiting thoughts and just being aware of how our perceptions or lack thereof, right? What's more important, the hour that it took me to get dressed and go to the gym, or my heart, my lungs, my limbs, all that, my mind, my sleep? Like, what is the sacrifice being made?
You have to understand who you are as an individual. It's one of the things that I had to find out who I was as an individual and who I wanted to be, right? Knowing that I was in confinement, although I was there in the physical, my mind was never held captive.
Say it.
My mind was never.
The rumors like, hey, wait a minute. Your body was on lockdown.
Body's gonna come and go.
That's right. But your mind was free.
But your mind, you control that.
Wow.
You got control. You might not control the chains, the bars, the fences, but you will continue always to control this.
My therapist told me, I have a therapist.
Me too.
And she said that when I talked about my work, like the administration work, I just talked about it. But when I talked about my art, I lit up. And she said that meant that you have to do art. You cannot not do art. And so I've been doing it for years now. I was doing it before she said it, but I became more purposeful about it. And now I'm in transition for 10 years at CD Forum, art was second and administration was first. And now art is first and administration is second. You really have to know why you're doing this work and how you're going to stay engaged in this work, because there's going to be the times when you want to quit, and there's going to be the times when people are going to tell you that you're not good enough, or you're going to feel like you're not good enough because you didn't get an opportunity or you wasn't on a certain stage, or and so you have to know why you continue to do what you do. And as long as you can pull that out your back pocket, you can keep going. I took ownership of being ambitious, and there's going to be times where it was times when my family didn't know what the heck is a storyteller. Like, what are you doing? You have an MBA, you're broke, what's going on? And why aren't you working where you're supposed to be working? Why are you doing this art thing? And then I showed up at my auntie's funeral and I read a piece. And they were like, about, that's what you do? That's what you do. Okay. And so
keep doing it.
And so I keep that as a reminder that my vision is my vision, and that I'm the only person that owns that vision. And so I need to stay ambitious.
Just this past Friday, a tragedy occurred to a young soul. And it's so unfortunate that this young man will not have the opportunity to experience being a parent, seeing a child graduate from high school, having the experience of being able to retire after working for a while. We're always reminded of that, unfortunately. So community is really important, because if we lose community, we lose ourselves. Our ability to survive, our ability to move forward, our ability to plan and make life better for those who are going to come behind us. It takes a village. There are so many decisions and details that have to be looked after to take care of these young folks. And it takes more than just one person, more than just one body to be able to do that. And so I think in order